We are live.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. This is part of an ongoing webinar series where we explore practical applications of culinary medicine. So really taking it out of the classroom and into your kitchen. So thanks again for joining us today. My name is Eric Vorkepper. I'm the online education manager at the University of Montana. I'll be helping facilitate our session today. So just to give you a brief overview of what to expect, I will introduce our speaker. We'll be going over some different educational opportunities that are available to you. And then we'll be getting into exploring some of those practical applications of the discipline. So the fun stuff, right? Towards the end of our session, we'll save about 10 minutes to field any questions you might have. So please feel free to pop those in the chat below, and we'll do our best to field everyone's questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker. He is a cardiologist, professional chef, author, college professor. Please welcome Dr. Michael Fenster.
Thanks, Eric. And first of all, thank all of you for taking the time out of your days, especially around the holidays when it's crazy busy, to join us for a little bit. In case you can't tell, I am so excited about today. This is one of the aspects that we teach in our introduction to culinary medicine course that Eric touched upon that I think it's just really exciting, really fun. It's really on the leading edge of the science, but the roots of this go back, thousands and thousands of years. So it's very fascinating, and we'll get into that. And you'll see, I'm ready to go. I've got my Japanese Haori jacket on because the other title for this talk today, well, it could have been Zen and the Art of Eating. And in light of that, I am going to lead those of you who'd like to, towards the end of our lecture or chat today, through a brief 3 to 5 minute exercise in mindful eating. So if that's something you think you might want to participate in, I want you to run now, and I'm going to give you a minute and go get a single little bite of something to eat. So it could be, if you've got a piece of fruit like a grape or an apple, maybe cut the apple so you can have something that's just a bite. That one of the things that we're going to talk about with respect to mindful eating is being here and being in the present. And this whole concept is something that, while we mentioned in the introduction course, it's something that we do more of a deep dive into our more advanced, our forthcoming level 2 courses. So with that in mind, I'll be having a little dried currant to be in the present for today. And we're talking about holidays. So besides the stress of holidays and having to put up with really bad puns, holidays can be challenging for a number of different reasons, but they also afford us incredible opportunities. And one of the things, the way we talk about it in our approach to culinary medicine, is we talk about this as eating and approaching our food with an attitude of gratitude. And I think that's really germane to the holiday season, when, especially this year, it's been trying for a lot of folks, a lot of stress in a lot of different and many unexpected ways. So it's an opportunity for us to be grateful. Also, a way to deal with some of the stresses, for folks that have a guest and family, that can be stressful. This holiday season, you might not be able to be with family and friends, and that in and of itself can be stressful. So how do we deal with that on top of all the issues that surround food? And certainly one of the dangers of this holiday season is that it also can provide an opportunity for us to overindulge in things and in ways that we can pay consequences for later. And so I want to use this opportunity of this aspect of talking about the mindful eating or the mindful approach to eating to reinforce the fact that how we eat is very important. And this is really interesting. And we talk about this in the course. Long ago, when I was back in medical school, back in the dark ages of horses and carriages, and I was going to say plague mask, but they're almost appropriate today with what's going on. We believed that your brain patterns that we developed was essentially set by the time we were in our early 20s. So we kind of peaked in terms of our neural networking ability by the time we were in our 20s. And then it was kind of a slow, inevitable decline, till we got in our advanced years, became more forgetful, etc. And now we know, unfortunately, like a lot of things in medicine, we were completely wrong. And this has been shown scientifically through the use of technologies that are very recent, things like functional MRI studies, that we're constantly reworking and adapting and changing those neural networks. And this is something that's called experience-dependent neuroplasticity. It's a fancy way for saying that when we focus and we continue to work on things, our brain engages and keeps working those patterns. And in fact, when it comes to food, many of these neural patterns have subsequent impacts on our physiology and our emotion, because our food, our physiology, our emotion, that's all tied together. So what happens is that because as human beings, we have something called a frontal cortex. When we engage in these activities, we can actually rewire that. What does that mean? Well, that means it can go ahead and affect changes to our physiology, our emotional state, which ultimately impacts our health, our happiness, and our longevity as well. And the great thing about this, one of the fascinating things to me about this, is that this is so absolutely not something new. So I'm gonna share a little story with you, and this is a kind of a documented event, and goes back to ancient Rome. And there was a very wealthy, a very powerful, famous Roman politician called Lucius Lucilius. And one night, he was looking down at the menu that his cook had prepared, and he's like, "This is pretty boring." And so he goes to his cook and he says, "Here's the things that I want you to put on the menu." And it was kind of fancy schmancy. And the cook looked at this and said, "Oh, wow, I see all these things you want here. May I ask, what type of guests, who's coming over for me to prepare this kind of feast?" And Lucilius looks at the cook and he gets indignant and he goes, "Dost thou not know that tonight Lucilius dines with Lucilius?" In her book, Serve It Forth, the 20th century food writer MFK Fisher described watching an elderly man eating alone with what could only be described as religious reverence. He slowly consumed half an avocado that had been sprinkled with powdered sugar and soaked in Russian Kumal liquor. And she wrote, "He was at peace and aware that Lucilius dined with Lucilius for a reason," she wrote. And today, there's simply no separating these qualitative experiential effects of a meal from the development of health and wellness or disability and disease. As we talk about in our course on culinary medicine, we are not only what we eat, but how we eat, why we eat, when we eat, and with whom we eat, even if it is just ourselves. So with that in mind, let's look a little more closely at how we eat and how we can eat better. So today, again, I wish we had a whole day to do this. This is easily a whole day sort of presentation, but because of the time, I just want to share 3 sort of tips before we actually get into the exercise that we can use, not just for the holidays, but some ways of approaching food and mindfully eating that are good for all the days. So I'm going to touch on 3 things. One is timing, the second is plates, and the third is portions. So in terms of timings, what do I mean by that? And I'll share with you, I'm going to give away a restaurant secret here. And we used to do it when I ran a restaurant, which was kind of a casual dining restaurant. If you came in to eat at my place, as you were seated and sat down, there was some fresh baked that day bread on the table. Your water glasses were full. Now, why is that? One is obviously that's welcoming, it's full of hospitality, but there's a very practical reason that we in the restaurant business do things like that. One is that most people will immediately sit down and have a slice of this irresistible warm bread that you're already smelling, and you drink some water. And by the time, the wait staff comes around, takes your order, you get that first thing that you've ordered has come out of the kitchen, it's a good 15 or 20 minutes. And well, it takes your brain about 20 minutes to start to get the signals from the rest of your body that you've eaten. In other words, that starts to signal the satiation response. And what that means is in the restaurant industry, we control our portion sizes very carefully. And I might be giving you a 4-ounce portion of steak, but because you've eaten it when you've already started to get that feeling that you're full, you walk away from that meal incredibly satisfied because you feel very full. And you know what? We could take that same type of approach, that same science, and use it for ourselves. So, for example, if you are going out to eat at some party, or you're going out to a restaurant gathering, whatever it may be, you don't want to go hungry. I've learned the hard way over the years. I don't go to the grocery store. I don't go to do any kind of food shopping when I'm hungry, because I will not overeat in the store, but I will overbuy. That looks good. That looks good. Give me some of that. Oh, I'll take 6 of those. So we definitely can use this in the sense that, hey, before you go out, why don't you, make yourself a little snack before you leave? In essence, give yourself a little appetizer. And I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share here to show you. And what Eric is going to do is put the links up to these recipes. Oh, and I do want to mention, if you are going to check out the course at www.chefdrmike.com, please also follow us on social media. Our winner of a giveaway this month, Jillian, I want to congratulate her. She has won a signed set of 3 of the books. So congratulations, Jillian. And we'll be giving stuff out all through 2021. So if you follow us on social media, you'll get a chance to win some free stuff too. And here we have something that you can make. There's a recipe up for it on the chat box there. And this is just a wonderfully simple and very seasonal for what we have now here in Montana with the winter months, a split pea soup. And it's very hearty, it's very filling. And one thing that you can also do is, if you're having a kind of party for folks at your home and you're serving it, you can go ahead and give them this as an appetizer, just a small bowl of soup, and then wait a good 15 minutes before you start to bring out the main courses. And so that is, a way to be able to use timing and to be able to use our selection of ingredients and foods, things like the split pea soup, in ways that help us not only eat more healthful ingredients, absolutely delicious ingredients, but give us the strength and the courage, to be able to avoid some of those temptations when you're going somewhere and there's a spread of stuff that you might not want to indulge in so much. One of the things that I just was talking about in terms of the timing and the plates and the portions is portions. And so how do we institute portion control? And Eric will be putting up a recipe. This is for a beetroot Bellini, a very simple recipe to do. If you've ever made pancakes, you can make Bellinis. They're smaller, but you can charge more because they have a cool name like Bellinis, and they sound very exotic and very difficult to make. So if you want to go ahead and check out that recipe. A great way to use beetroots. And again, both the split pea soup and the beetroot are using ingredients that we find very common this time of year. And these are root vegetables. But with the Bellinis, boy, you make these and it's a simple appetizer to put out there. Just put a little creme fraiche, a little sour cream on it. You want to dress it up, put a little smoked salmon, a little dill on top. Now you've got a really elegant appetizer with portion control because you're controlling the size of the Bellinis themselves. So let me stop my, oh, I guess I didn't even get the screen share going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the Bellinis. And let me go ahead and just show you that that's the split pea soup that I was talking about there when I thought I had it on. And as I said, here are the Bellinis with the recipe. And I'm going to come back and now actually chat with you now that I'm back live. And we're going to get ready to go into our mindful eating exercise. And these can be both formal and informal. And it goes by a lot of names. As I said, in our course, we often talk about eating with an attitude of gratitude, being mindful, being present in the moment. That's what we're doing with when we call mindful eating. It's also called an eating meditation. Within the literature, it's actually called MBET, MBET, which stands for mind-based eating techniques. And the idea is that we're going to bring ourselves into the present. We're going to kind of get intimate with our food. We're really going to experience what we're eating. And we're going to use the food as the focus of our attention. So again, I'm staying in the present with my current. So I'd love you, if you're going to participate, to go ahead and get your little bit of food out. If you don't have something that you can use, this time I'm going to make sure I actually hit the screen share. And this is actually a recipe, and Eric will put that up for us as well, which utilizes the Beetroot Bellini, which you can see underneath there with a citrus herb.
Michael, we still can't see your screen.
Oh, okay, because I have to hit the actual share button. Thanks, Eric. There we go. Yep. So now you can see the Beetroot Bellini. You can see this is a citrus herb and brandied maple glazed duck breast with some roasted carrots. I've got some balsamic tatsoi there. So hopefully on this picture, you can find something that you want to take a bite of. And if you need to, just go ahead and visualize that. And if you've got your object, get ready, and I want you to relax. And I'm going to keep this picture up because I don't want to be a distraction. If you're using this as your attention on focus, you can kind of look at this. And let's go ahead and do this together for just a few minutes. So what I'd like you to start doing first is assume a dignified posture. You are an incredible human being. The world is different because you are here. You, through your interactions, impact society and culture. So assume your worthiness, assume your sovereignty, assume a dignified posture. Now go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to gently breathe in through your nose, very slowly, and experience that breath. What does it feel like? You can feel that air heating as it comes up through your nose, comes into your chest, and then exhale it through your nose again. Slowly feel that breath coming in and go out, in and out. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to focus on your body. Do you feel any tension anywhere? You feel some tension in your neck or shoulders or in your jaw. As you breathe in, acknowledge that tension, realize it's there. And then as you breathe out, just let that go. Just continue to breathe and just focus on the present. If your mind wanders a little bit, bring it out. Just let it go and focus on the breathing in and the breathing out. Relax yourself. Center yourself. Now open your eyes and look at the piece of food you've chosen. Just look at it, bring it close, and look at it as if you've never seen it before. Because in actuality, you have never seen this particular piece of food before. You have never eaten this particular piece of food before. Wow, it's unique. Notice the uniqueness of this piece of food. Picture where it came from. If it was a raisin, you imagine it growing in the summertime on that vine, in the wind and the rain and the sun. and then drying on the vine. Take it all in with your eyes. Just really examine it. Just focus on that food. Now, I want you to close your eyes once again and continue to breathe gently in through your nose and out through your nose, letting go of any tension. Now we're going to continue this inquiry of the food, but we're going to appreciate it through our sense of touch. Just pick it up. You get to play with your food. Is it smooth? Is it soft? Does it have a certain texture or crumble to it? What does it feel like? And now notice how different your experience is compared to just looking at the food. Now I want you to bring that morsel of food to your nose, continuing to breathe gently in and out. Can you smell anything? Breathe deeply. Can you get a scent? What does that tell you? What does that make you feel about the food? What are you experiencing when you smell that morsel right now? Now just drop it down a little bit right outside your mouth, close to your lips, but don't allow the food to touch your lips just yet. Focus on your feelings in the present. Are you experiencing any anticipation about what the food will taste like? Are you curious? Are you nervous? Now go ahead and open your mouth. Extend your tongue just a little bit and go ahead and put that little bit of food on your tongue. Now close your mouth and capture the food between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. Now just take in the full experience and all these sensations, the textures, the feelings as your tongue holds that piece of food up against the roof of your mouth. Pay attention to the flavors you begin to taste. Are they pleasant? Is there anything unpleasant? Is it very familiar? Is it unfamiliar? Is it a mixture of both? And as you breathe in and out and hold that little morsel against the roof of your mouth, do the textures and sensations begin to change? Now go ahead and move that morsel of food from between your tongue and the roof of your mouth to between your teeth, and just gently hold it there for a moment. You're in that time and space of betwixt and between. You've started to eat it, but you haven't begun to chew your food yet. Focus on that and notice how this experience is different simply because you've moved the food to a different part of your mouth. Now, while you're holding it there, allow yourself to begin to gently start to chew the food and shift your focus to your ears. Listen to the sound of the food in your mouth as you bring your teeth together for that single exquisite chew. Now expand your focus and take in all the experiences and all those sensations of that bite of food in your mouth. How does your mind respond? What's going on? How are you feeling in this moment? Explore and receive and experience everything that's surrounding that single bite of food, that single small morsel. Wow. How incredibly and complex and profound are all these interactions and all these connections that your mind went places and experienced things and maybe recalled memories or maybe moved to the future, all connected to simply eating something, a single bite. I want you to continue to slowly chew your bit of food and continue to listen and taste and experience those subtle changes as you continue to chew this bit of food. And when you feel that urge to swallow, receive it. Proceed naturally. Continue to breathe in and out, to gently chew and swallow until that single sumptuous morsel is gone. Now pay attention to all the sensations and feelings and experiences in your mouth now that the food is gone. Take a deep breath in and then out. And another one in and out. And now that the food is gone, do you notice any particular desires or urges? Maybe you really want another bite of that food. Maybe you're recalling an experience where you had a similar flavors. Maybe you're starting to feel a little full. Whatever arises, welcome it, feel it for a moment, experience it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. Now open your eyes and come on back in. I hope that you enjoy that. And that is simply one type of very short exercise, just getting into the feel of mindful eating. And again, there are many ways, both formal and informal, to practice this. But hopefully this little exercise has changed your experience and made you a little more intimate with all that happens. Because so often we're eating mindlessly and taking everything that you just experienced. If you participated with us in that little exercise, we take that for granted. And if we think that that was one type of food, one type of flavor, and only one bite, wow, imagine what we can experience when we sit down and enjoy a whole meal. And we begin to understand just a little bit, maybe, why over 2,000 years ago, it was important that Lucellus dined with Lucellus. So thank you once again for taking some time to join us today. I had a great time. This is one of those aspects of culinary medicine that I find so much fun, just because, we're really going someplace a little different outside of just selecting ingredients and preparing foods into the actual reason that we practice culinary medicine, which, is to get inside our own heads and enjoy the experience, make it positive, and live happier, healthier, and longer lives. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Eric for any questions that we might have. And may you and yours have a happy and blessed holiday experience. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Michael. It looks like we're actually running out of time today, so we won't be able to get to any questions today, but what a great exercise. Thank you so much for that. It's really going to set the stage, and I know I'll be enjoying all my food that much more over the season. So just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope everyone has a happy and healthy holiday. So, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye-bye. If you all do have questions, feel free to hop on the website, chefdrmike.com. You can just send them to me, and I'll make sure that we get back to them in time for the holidays. So everybody take care. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.